Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Drafted Up podcast. Today begins the big ones. The Couch Scout series, the Armchair Scouts, the Backseat Scouters, whatever you want to call it. We're diving into our prospect rankings, position by position, and we're going to start with the headliners, for the most part, in terms of marketability, the quarterbacks. We're going to go through our top 10 quarterbacks today. I can't wait. I've been done quarterbacks for a while, so I am revved up. I did a little quick watch on a few of these guys and made some minor tweaks to my list before we recorded, but I am ready to go. Nicholas, how you doing today, dude?
Doing good. Ready to talk some quarterbacks. I literally made changes 10 seconds before we started recording.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of guys towards the bottom that are all just kind of the same in my eyes.
Into the same bucket. I agree. Yeah, I can't wait to dive into that. Before that, though, you know where to find us. We're over on Twitter at @draftedup_pod. More importantly, though, like, rate, subscribe, review the show. We're on Apple, Spotify for the podcast, YouTube for the video, wherever you watch. We appreciate the support from all you guys. You guys are wonderful. And you guys are the reason we keep the show going. Here's we're approaching 1 year of the podcast.
We're back to what it all started as, dude.
Yeah.
We're here.
Yeah, we're
full circle.
The draft class, we're doing it a little earlier than we did last year. I think last year we did it post-combine. It got a little tight. Towards we're starting here pre-combine. Combine officially started today. Players started showing up. All the good stuff, those Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All the stuff you want to watch, the drills.
Yes, sir. And cannot wait.
All right. How many quarterbacks were you able to squeeze into this watch?
Into my top 10? 10.
Oh,
10.
Yeah.
Squeeze 10 into my top 10.
I'd hope so.
14, 15? 15.
15. All right.
I watched the combine. Guys.
Okay. I managed.
Is who I watched.
I managed to get one extra guy in. I got 16.
Watch Canada?
No, I couldn't find any tape on Canada.
Yeah, me either. I looked, couldn't find it.
I've heard good things about Taylor Elgersma. Like there's a chance he might actually get drafted. I hope he does. That would be pretty cool. So the quarterbacks who I watched who didn't make my top 10 were Graham Mertz, Brady Cook. Graham Mertz from Florida, Brady Cook from Missouri, Cam Miller from North Dakota State, Seth Hannigan from Memphis, Max Brosmer from Minnesota, and just missing my top 10, Riley Leonard from Notre Dame.
No, he was the guy that I squeezed into the top 10 seconds before the show. I liked Riley Leonard way more than I thought I would. Guys I watched that didn't make the top 10, pretty much similar to your Brady Cook, Graham Mertz, Max Brosmer, Seth Hannigan, and then at 11 is Curtis Rourke, Indiana.
Curtis Rourke, he's in my top 10. So, let's do it. You want to start, or you want me to?
So the only guy we have different out of our top 10s is Riley Leonard and
Curtis Rourke. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, let's get it.
All right. You want to go first, or you want me to reveal my 10 through 6?
Don't matter to me. I'll go.
All right.
10, I got quarterback Quinn Ewers from Texas. 9, Riley Leonard, Notre Dame. 8, Kyle McCord, Syracuse. 7, Will Howard, Ohio State. 6, Dylan Gabriel, Oregon.
All right. We're similar. We got.
I'm sure we are.
You got a guy there in your bottom 5 who's in my top 5.
Okay.
And that obviously means I have a guy in my top 5 that was in your bottom half. So at 10, I also have Quinn Ewers, the quarterback from Texas. At 9, I have Curtis Rourke from Indiana. 8, I have Kyle McCord from Syracuse. 7,
Samesy.
Jalen Milroe of Alabama. And 6 is Dylan Gabriel from Oregon.
You're a big Will Howard guy over here.
I will.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, I will admit I watched Will Howard and I was way surprised. Way more than I thought I was going to be. And I'm like, man, I can't believe I'm going to be putting this guy in my top 5 quarterbacks.
Everyone from pretty much Will Howard up, so my 7 on, I think have a legitimate chance to be at least given the reins at some point to start for an NFL team.
Yeah. I would say Howard, Gabriel, Milroe would be in the same bucket for me.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And then,
so let's start with Quinn, though.
Yeah, let's start. Quinn Ewers, highly regarded prospect. This guy, he's been involved in the draft cycle for a handful of years now, and I kind of wish he still wasn't. And he went back to school. He should have taken the NIL deal, and left Texas for whatever the Big Ten school that was apparently going to give him
someone would have paid
a ton of money.
Yeah, I got a little stats here. His 2024 season, 14 games, 293 completions out of 445 attempts, 65.8 completion percentage, little over 3,400 yards, 31 touchdowns, 9 picks. And he's played a decent amount. He's played 37 career games, so he's, like you said, he's been playing college ball for a couple of seasons now. I do wish he would have went back, though. I agree. Yeah. I don't think he's ready. Well, you want to go like bullet points, or what do you want to do here?
Yeah, we could do that. So Quinn Ewers, 5-star recruit. When he committed to Ohio State, transferred to Texas.
He played a season that not played, but he was at Ohio State for a season.
6'2", 210, regular size, nothing to worry about there. He's still young, 21. So there's upside there. But like it almost feels to me, and I don't want to get into like specifics in terms of like, it just feels like Quinn Ewers is just kind of done. Like he feels like he's just a guy who's tired of playing football. Like, I don't know if the hype got to him, because like I said, he was a 5-star recruit, and the draft cycle has had Quinn Ewers here the last 2-3 years, where it's just like Quinn Ewers, he's a first-round quarterback, he's a future NFL superstar, and like nothing hasn't panned to that direction. And then Arch Manning shows up at Texas, and Arch Manning, in the little bit of time he played, looked way better as a prospect than Quinn Ewers has ever looked. So I don't know if just all this got to him and he's in his own head, or if he's just kind of done with the hype and he couldn't handle that sort of pressure. I don't know. I'm not Quinn Ewers. I'm not in his head. And I don't want to speculate that kind of things, but that's what it felt like to me watching him just throughout the few years, where like he hasn't progressed at all. He hasn't necessarily declined really, but like there's been no showings of him getting better and making that next jump in my eyes.
He hasn't taken the right progression steps forward. I 100% agree. He didn't look consistent throughout most of his college career. He's horrendously not smooth in the pocket. I don't know what it is, but he looks so clunky in the pocket.
His pocket presence is horrid. It might be the worst in the class.
It's bad, dude. He'll bail from a clean pocket. It's insane. Times in 2023, it looked like he could run an offense. It didn't look like that in 2024. He never really took over and was the guy in the offense. He doesn't drive the ball at an NFL level. It's sketchy footwork, all upper body throws. He's got a gifted arm, though. I'll give him that. Like his arm is there, but he needs to work on his throwing motion. I wrote down here he's a backyard football MVP, dude. Like, I'm sure this kid on a playground was amazing to play football. He's that kind of guy.
So good off script, which is crazy, because you'd think he wouldn't be the way he just like his tools and everything. Like, he doesn't look like the guy who's just kind of just Caleb Williamsing his way back there trying to be super, and that's when he's better.
He's playing hero ball,
and
I agree.
That doesn't carry over. So like, unfortunately, like,
it's
his
not
biggest strength isn't
Mm-hmm.
something you want to happen regularly.
Yep. Yeah, he's got a lot of skill, but he needs to develop better footwork and a hell of a lot better throwing motion. He's a big developmental guy. That's what these quarterbacks on for like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 are all in the same bucket for me. And they're all guys that just need to develop better motions, better footwork. But he's talented, dude. I'll give him that. He's super talented. He just needs to put it all together more consistently.
Which is why I ended up with him at 10 over a guy like Riley Leonard or Max Brosmer or Seth Hannigan. Like, they might be safer prospects in the long run, but like, I don't think they provide the ceiling that Quinn Ewers could get to. Like, I'm still banking on that 5-star recruit, but it's not, like you said, his pocket presence is horrid. Like, he bails way too quick. His vision too, like just seeing the field and making open throws, like it's not there. And like, I don't know how, because like Texas last year had Adonai Mitchell, had Xavier Worthy. This year we're going to talk about Matthew Golden. We're going to talk about Isaiah Bond. They have another kid there, Wingo, who's going to be in the draft cycle in 2026, 2027. Who's a really good prospect. And like, Jatavian Sanders, all the running backs that they've produced, and just like Quinn Ewers seems to be the piece that has been holding them back from being a national contender. But yeah, I didn't hate his throwing motion, honestly. I thought he could throw all angles. He does throw a little sidearm sometimes, little Phillip Rivers, but
I did not like his motion.
It did not shy away from him. I actually think like if he toned down a little bit and backed off the, being off script and would just kind of stay in the pocket, I thought he was a good game manager at times. And when he would manage the game and just take the simple throws and, just get the ball, release it quick, Texas looked really good. But he was never consistently that game manager player, and, his struggles under pressure, and then, of course, his durability. He's never finished a season.
Yeah. That's a huge red flag.
He is going to throw at the combine, and he's coming off an injury. Like, that came out today, that he is going to throw, despite the fact that he played all of last season with a ruptured bicep,
oblique injury, I believe, something. I'm very
a torn oblique.
I'm very happy to hear. Yeah, I'm very happy to hear he's going to be throwing. It's not a big deal if you don't throw at the combine. Cam's not going to throw. Shadir's not going to throw. These guys are going to throw at their pro days, where it's a more simulated environment for them, and I get it. As long as you throw once in the process, I'm fine with it. It doesn't have to be at the combine.
Yeah, bearing injury, of course. I'm not gonna.
100%.
If you're injured,
if you're hurt, you don't throw.
I don't want you out there throwing the ball. But yeah,
for sure.
Like yours, and I think he's going to interview well. I do. I think team.
Oh yeah, he's going to interview.
I think the
great,
NFL
dude.
is going to like him, and there is a chance he goes third round. I think that's his ceiling in terms of where he's drafted. Is the third.
I agree.
But I think he's more of a day 3 guy, 4th, 5th round. I ended up with a 5th round grade on him, but I think the NFL is going to like him more than we do.
We do,
and I understand where they're coming from because. The tools are there, and maybe it is. Maybe this is what I said earlier. Maybe he just doesn't have the heart for the game anymore, just of how hyped he was. Maybe it's got to him. I don't know. Maybe it's a mental thing. We'll see. He is definitely an intriguing prospect, and of these guys here at the bottom, like the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, he definitely has the highest ceiling. Like, I don't think Curtis Rourke, Riley Leonard, Kyle McCord have the ceiling that Quinn Ewers does.
Yeah, no, I would agree to that for sure. I just like Riley Leonard's name. I do like his name. It's very hard for me to say. I like Riley Leonard and Kyle McCord. I like their game a little bit more than Quinn Ewers, but I would agree that Quinn Ewers has a higher ceiling than both those guys.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about our number 9s. You have Riley Leonard. I have Curtis Rourke. Why don't you start with Leonard, and I'll kind of piggyback off you for the little bit I got there for him.
Cool. Riley Leonard, Notre Dame. Played in the national championship in a game, and then a week later he was at the senior day doing the Senior Bowl stuff, doing interviews, doing throws. You love that out of your quarterback. He wants to be out there on the field showing what he has. 6'4", 215, born September 13th, 2002. He's 22. He's still pretty young. Decent little stats this year. 2,800 yards, 21 touchdowns, only 8 picks. He had 17 rushing touchdowns, though. He had 17 on the ground and almost 1,000 yards, 900 rushing yards. He has great legs. That's what his game really is going to be in the NFL. I hate to do the Danny Jones comparison because they both went to Duke and then he transferred to Notre Dame. But he is almost the prospect that Danny Jones was coming out of college. Danny Jones should have never been the 5th pick in the NFL draft. He should have been a 3rd round guy, 2nd round guy. If Riley Leonard goes out here and blows up the combine, blows up interviews, he could go 3rd round, 2nd round, because he's that kind of guy that can lead an offense. He seems to do a lot of stuff very well and okay. He doesn't have the elite traits, but he does everything very well. He never looks nervous in the pocket. I liked watching that. Didn't seem to make clear decision under pressure. That's a big red flag, though. Like, when you get pressured, and that's going to happen in the NFL. The NFL is a much faster football than college football. So that worries me with Riley Leonard, but I think he reads a defense a little bit better than Quinn Ewers does. He's not gifted with the arm like Quinn Ewers is, but like I said, he has the legs to pick up first downs. He can extend drives. I think he just plays a little bit smarter and cleaner football than Quinn Ewers. But at the end of the day, I think they both have the same outcome. They're going to be backups or low-level starters in the NFL if possible. I think there's a world where both guys could develop into a Ryan Tannehill type starter in the NFL, and they're playing decent football for a really decent team.
Mm-hmm. My little bottom line for Quinn Ewers I didn't mention up was that Quinn Ewers could be a franchise quarterback for the UFL. I don't think he's a franchise guy in the NFL, and I kind of feel I think Riley Leonard is the same. I think Riley Leonard
is the same thing.
Would thrive as a UFL quarterback, but I think there is a place for him in the NFL also. I see him more like I think he could develop more into like a gadget player. Like I think that's where his upside is higher. Like I think he could eventually become Taysom Hill. Like I think he's that kind of athlete. And I don't think he's a good enough passer to have a long stay in the NFL, but I think he's a guy who could have spot starts, sort of like Taysom Hill did. And I don't want to be pushing guys changing position, but like I think Riley Leonard is that type of athlete, and that's a great thing. And teams are going to draft him based off his athleticism.
He's super athletic. He's got a huge track background, and he's played basketball. He was a really good high school basketball athlete, and I believe he had basketball offers as well. I believe that was him. I don't know. It's one of these guys in his draft class that had basketball offers.
Yeah. He was
but he's super athletic, though. He really is.
3-star recruit, went to Duke, transferred to Notre Dame. Like, I actually thought his Duke tape was a little bit better from a quarterback perspective. But Notre Dame, I thought he more so learned to command an offense there better than he did at Duke.
For sure.
Like, he did a great job. Yeah. And the national championship game, he had that first drive where he was the whole offense and just ran, and he was throwing up on the sideline. Like, super competitive, really athletic. I think he's a fine passer, doesn't have a great arm. Sometimes his feet are a little heavy in the pocket, which is strange because he's such a good athlete, because like he should have that escapability, but sometimes he just kind of gets stuck there. But he also is really good in the pocket. Like, he has good pocket presence. I'm just worried that I just don't think he has the NFL arm ability to long stay in the NFL. But I think he's the type of athlete who will stay. And whether it is becoming a gadget guy or just being a third-string scout team quarterback, I think there's longevity for him just based off of how athletic he is.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't have the arm to be throwing guys open or dropping dimes or the timing. He doesn't have that kind of arm. But the middle of the field stuff, he can hit guys decently enough to where, like, I would say his arm's as good as Danny Jones. It's a little bit worse than Tua's. But yeah, you know, I like his game. It translated better than I thought it would. I went into this process thinking I was going to hate Riley Leonard just because of me watching Danny Jones for the last 5 years on my team. But I would say he plays clean ball, dude, and that's just what you want. You want a quarterback that you know what you're going to get. To where Quinn Ewers, he's high ceiling, all potential, to where I know what I'm going to get with Riley Leonard. So there's just a little bit of a gap there.
Yeah, and I had the same grade with Leonard that I did
for sure.
Quinn Ewers, and then my number 9, Curtis Rourke, same grade, same bucket as well. Indiana quarterback, transfer from Ohio. Big guy, 6'5", 223. Like, this is the opposite of Riley Leonard. Not the athlete. This boy is a pocket boy. He's not necessarily mobile, but transferred Canadian as well. So
Canadian.
But yeah, he is older, 24 years old. But
he'll be 25 this year.
Yeah, what I liked was he's already running a pro style offense there in Indiana. Shanahan, it's a Shanahan offense. Mike Shanahan Jr. is running the Indiana offense, and you know Curtis Rourke is experienced, high IQ guy. He makes good throws. Like I said, he does a great job running the offense. It's just older, injury concerns. He played most of the year or had a torn ACL, so who knows what kind of mobility he's going to have. The little bit he had, we'll see how much that affects him. But you know, I think he's got a good enough arm. It's not the best. I like his release, great footwork, but the age, the lack of mobility, injury concerns are what keeps me from pushing him into the next level. But you know, I came away really impressed with Curtis Rourke. Like, I think he's going to be a long-term, like, NFL backup.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's my 11 as well, with the same bucket as Quinn Ewers, Riley Leonard, and a couple guys under him. What do I got down here for him? Good NFL size, pocket passer, limited mobility. What you're pretty much saying. Decent arm, but it's not as big as you would expect for a guy that's 6'5".
Yeah,
but he's got a nice arm. But his touch on his passes is what I really like. The touch on his passes, he puts the right amount of air. He's able to drop it in tight windows, and he's willing to hold on to that ball until it needs to be fired to the last second.
He has no problem taking
a hit.
His pocket presence is great.
Yeah, it's very good. He knows when to hold on to that ball and when to get rid of it. I like her. I like Curtis Rourke. Not as much as the guys above him, but they're in the same bucket. I do think he has a decent NFL career ahead of him, backup wise. Yeah, I like his game. I expected him to have a little bit bigger arms, so I have him down a little bit more, but I think he's going to be all right.
Yeah, his arm strength does come off more like a 6'3" guy than a 6'5" guy.
Yeah, for sure. You expect him to really drive it, but he doesn't.
Yeah, two-star prospect from Canada, went to Ohio, transferred to Indiana, and that's really what put him on the map. He could have entered the draft cycle last year, and he probably would have been undrafted, so now there's a chance he goes. I think he ends up more day 3, the back end of day 3, like 6, 7, even though I have a higher grade on him than where I think he's going to end up being drafted. But I think his IQ and just the fact that he's a Shanahan offense, I think a team, maybe even San Francisco, takes him and he becomes the backup there for Brock Purdy going forward.
He is very Brock Purdy for sure. The way he the touches on his passes, the air on him, he knows how to really throw under pressure, run an offense. He is very Brock Purdy. He's not going to be an elite quarterback. He doesn't have elite traits, but he knows how to play the game very well.
Not as good as an athlete as Purdy. Purdy's got some legs. Curtis Rourke, he'll just stay in the pocket and take a big hit there. But I think his ceiling and his floor are really close. Like we feel about Brock Purdy. Like,
I agree.
I think his guy's just a permanent NFL backup, and I think if he ever has to play, you're not going to be worried like, oh my god, my backup quarterback's in. I think he's just a smart. The offense isn't going to be affected too much if he has to step in.
Yeah, I agree. You keep bringing up that he's Canadian. He won the John Cornish Award. Sorry if that's pronounced wrong. Which is the top Canadian player in college football. So I didn't even know that was an award. So that's pretty cool.
Is that the thing Taylor Elgersma also won? Is that their Heisman?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah,
I just have that he won. I have awards here for these guys, and he won the John Cornish Trophy. And in parentheses, I have top Canadian player. Which I did not know that was an award.
Oh yeah.
So shout out to Curtis Rourke for the top Canadian player of the year this year. Also, second team All Big Ten. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Transferring there to the Big Ten was great for him.
Very smart. Yeah, for sure. The transfer portal just opens up the world to all these like lower guys. Like we've mentioned, he went to Ohio. And then we have Max Brosmer, who was New Hampshire. It's not even Division I school, dude. Quinn Ewers got out from Ohio State and then went and gone bald. Tyler Shucks played everywhere. Dylan Gabriel's played everywhere. Sanders, he's played 2 years of Colorado and transferred. But like it's amazing. The transfer portal is really giving these guys opportunities to shine and not hold out a year after transferring. That was such a dumb rule, and I'm so glad it's not a
the guy
rule
we're going to talk about next, Kyle McCord, also a transfer. He played at Ohio State. He was Marvin Harrison Jr.'s quarterback, and he transferred to Syracuse, and he looked way better on tape at Syracuse than he ever did at Ohio State.
I agree. We're going to jump into Kyle McCord?
Yeah, we'll just jump right there to McCord.
Let's get to it.
4-star prospect. Like I said, from Ohio State, transferred to Syracuse, and the Syracuse tape so much better than the Ohio State tape. And even though this guy is the gunslinger of this draft class.
Yeah, I have that written down for sure, dude.
There is not 100%. A window Kyle McCord doesn't think he can squeeze the ball through, and sometimes that's a great mentality. But
yeah,
he had so many turnover-worthy plays last year that like it was tough to watch sometimes. It's just like just throw to the guy underneath, dude. Just throw to Quinn Allen. He's down there. Just dump it off to him. Stop trying to make the big play. You don't need to do it every time you have the ball.
Did you watch any of his Ohio State stuff?
I mean, not this year, but last year, through watching, you know.
He didn't play that way. He played super reserved and like scared at Ohio State. And to watch him come to Syracuse, he's a different quarterback.
Yeah.
And I have that written down here. He's a gunslinger this year. He played super reserved at Ohio State. He looked more at ease this year, didn't have pressure on his shoulders. And it's okay to play at these huge schools like Ohio State, But if you feel you're going to do better in a less pressure situation, which he did, he transferred out of Ohio State, went to Syracuse. It's a good school, don't get me wrong. I love Syracuse. They're out here beating Ohio, or Miami, so I'm pretty salty about that. But man, Kyle McCord played so much better this year for Syracuse. Man, he was a fun watch. I liked his Syracuse tape, dude. He had a nice little season. He's got good size too.
Yeah, he is the backup quarterback you want. Just like like Gardner Minshew when he was a backup would just come in and just kind of hurl the ball around before he dumbed down his game and became like a game changer. But he's that type of player. Like he's not afraid to throw the ball. Like he's like Will Levis. Oh yeah. Also, just there's no throw Will Levis wants to make, and Kyle McCord's the same way. But Kyle McCord, above average arm talent. He throws his weapons open, which I love. A lot of guys will they're wait till they see it throwers, but Kyle McCord, he anticipates his throws. He's got plus accuracy, good size. And I thought he had really good footwork until he was pressured, and then he became all panicked, and he would just stumble back or, just kind of get. He doesn't have the athletic ability to kind of maneuver out of the pocket. Like he's a fine enough athlete, but if you get a quick pressure on him, he panics, backpedals, and then throws a dart or just takes the hit. But pocket passer, and the turnovers are really like the biggest flaw on his tape because everything else is fine. But he can kind of find that middle ground between his Ohio State tape and his Syracuse tape. Yeah. And you got to find an NFL football player.
Yeah, like he had 34 touchdowns this year in the 13 games. He's played 37 in his career. He's had 61 touchdowns. So more than half his touchdowns came this year in less than half the games. But more than half of his interceptions came this year as well. He had 12 interceptions to where he has 20 in his career. So like his game completely changed here at Syracuse, and I think it was for the better, to be honest. He's got a great deep ball. It's very accurate. The timing, it's a big improvement from 2023 to 24. He's very good at play action too. Like he played a little bit under center, and he looked good when doing it. Not a lot of these guys played under center in this draft. He's one of the few that took a decent amount of snaps under center, played good doing it. He's got a good base, and he drives the ball very well. Like I expected Curtis Rourke to drive the ball like this, but it's Kyle McCord who has the better base, and he drives the ball really well for a pocket guy. He sits on his first read a little bit too long. He plays football with his eyes.
He does.
That's going to kill him in the NFL if he keeps doing that. He's got to change that.
I don't know how much of that is a Syracuse thing, though. That could it could be an offensive structure.
But you can't even do the same for Ohio State because he was just always looking at Marv.
That's true.
He looked at his first two options at Ohio State, and either way, he was going to one of the two guys.
If I had Marvin Harrison, I would just always be looking his way as well.
Hey, man, we'll be talking about his running mate in this draft class, too. I'm pretty high on him.
Buka. Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, like, does that worry you, though, about Kyle McCord? Like, is that a flaw that he
what's that,
that he couldn't do what he did here in Syracuse with the weapons that he had at Ohio State?
I'm not overly concerned, but I am obviously a little bit concerned. It sits in my head. I think it's more of a, he went to Ohio State with the world in his hands and the pressure on his shoulders, and he couldn't handle it. And he's a really talented kid, and it showed here at Syracuse, where he wasn't comfortable making those throws at Ohio State because it's on such a bigger platform and a bigger stage. To everyone's watching. If you fuck up at Ohio State, you're the laughing stock. It's your fault. You're the quarterback. To where at Syracuse, it's not that pressured. You're still playing really good football for a really big conference. And he really improved this year. His 2024 tape was so much better than Ohio State stuff.
I agree. All right. Let's talk about our number 6 guy, and then we'll dive into our 2 guys that are outside our top 5.
Oh, yes. And then we'll I was about to say, I'm like, yeah,
so
very good.
Let's talk Dylan Gabriel, Oregon. This man has played so much college football.
I got it. He's played 2 seasons at Oklahoma, 3 seasons at UCF, and then a season at Oregon, my guy. He's played so much college football. 64 career games.
Yeah. 3-star prospect, like you said, UCF, Oklahoma, Oregon. He's been everywhere, man. And his play at Oregon this year was great, but
it was outstanding.
The size is the big thing. He's 5'11", 200 pounds. But I think I think Dylan Gabriel's a really good quarterback. I think he's a prototypical backup quarterback who you are not going to fall. Like, I think he's an elite level backup, like top tier backup quarterback in the NFL who could be, a stopgap starter for a franchise that's developing a quarterback or planning to draft a quarterback. But he's got mobility. He's more of a scrambler than runner. He's really creative off script, really accurate. He had a nice touch on his deep passes. His arm's necessarily not the best in terms of deep ball, but he can make the
It was
throws.
better than I thought, though.
I agree.
It's better than what people are saying it is. His arm is an NFL arm.
Yeah.
His arm's fine. His arm is fine at the end of the day.
I would say at worst, his arm's on par with Bo Nix, and Bo Nix was making the throws this year.
I agree.
Yeah, but experienced, high IQ football player, great pocket awareness, but is a little bit older. He occasionally does lock onto his first read, and that's also just, I think, an Oregon thing, because that was a thing Bo Nix did as well.
I didn't think that was an issue.
No?
I thought he ran through progressions phenomenally.
Okay.
That's one of I thought that was one of his really big pluses.
Okay.
That he ran through progressions. He would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then back to 1. He might be the best progression quarterback in the draft in my eyes.
Oh, okay. See, I did not see that, but it could have just been different games, like if you're not watching the same games.
Yeah.
His deep ball and arm strength is a little inconsistent, and like I said, he is a little smaller, but I think there's upside for him as a potential starter. I don't think he's a long-term franchise guy, but if I'm Miami, I think he's the perfect backup for Tua. I don't really comp them the same, and I just bring it because he's also left-handed, but I think that saves you. Then you don't have to switch up your progressions to a right-handed quarterback and your protections.
Yep.
Honestly, if I'm Miami, I'm spending a 4th-round pick on this guy.
But the lefty thing's not it should be thought about, because when you're a lefty quarterback, the ball comes out different. It's a different spin, different rotation, and it's different for a receiver to catch. If you're switching between a lefty and a righty for these receivers, it's going to be harder for them. So if you can bring in a guy that's very similar to Tua, size, stature, arm size, it makes sense to me, dude. Like Dylan Gabriel to Miami is a perfect fit in my eyes. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and I think he can run the Mike McDaniel offense.
Yeah, I agree. Before I did final evals, Dylan Gabriel was my quarterback 3. I really like Dylan Gabriel.
He was also my 3.
Yeah, and I have him at 6, right above Will Howard, and I think him and Will Howard, same bucket, same tier. Those two guys, to where I think they're really good backups, like you said, elite level backups. But I think there's a world where both Will Howard and Dylan Gabriel are decent, floor quarterbacks. They both play really clean football at the end of the day. What I got here, super fun film, very accurate, clean ball, very catchable. Good pre and post snaps and making adjustments. Good at going through reads. Can move outside the pocket. RPO option. Played so much college ball, and I love that. It's the Jaden Daniels thing. I see what Dylan Gabriel is consistently. You know what you're gonna get. He's got an okay arm, decent enough. Football IQ through the roof. You brought that up. He can protect the ball but still play down the field, which I love. He's 155 college touchdowns to 32 interceptions. He just makes the right moves. The middle of the field is where he's going to make his most money in the NFL. I really like Dylan Gabriel, dude. I'm kind of bummed I got him at 6. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I agree. The media loves to bring this narrative that this is a bad quarterback class, and maybe from an upside potential it is, but I think there's good quarterbacks in this class. I agree. Even Jalen Milroe, who I have at 7, I think he could develop into a elite quarterback. He's got those sort of traits.
It's surprising that he's my 5, Milroe. I'm just going to talk to you that right now. And it's tricky in my head because he's so much like Anthony Richardson to where he needs to progress.
He's played so much more football.
Exactly. There's something about Milroe that I'm willing to tie my boat to. I like Milroe's game. I think he's going to translate way better than Anthony Richardson has.
Yeah. And so we'll get there though. You had Milroe 5. You had Will Howard 7.
Yeah,
okay,
Howard
we
7.
have them switch. I have Will Howard 5 and Jalen Milroe 7. All right, but
Yeah.
before we dive into those guys and then the rest of our top 5, let's give a shout out to our friends over at Dubby Energy. Like I've said, Dubby prides themselves on full ingredient disclosure, no artificial dyes, no sweeteners. It's a great product. It's delicious. They got a ton of flavors. They got 2 exclusive flavors out currently, which is a little sponsorship with anime and Crunchyroll and a couple anime shows. So check them out. That's a limited supply there. I got the blue tropical punch and it's delicious, but they got a ton of other flavors. Check them out. They got an app. Search Dubby on your app store or your Google Play Store. They'll be there. Or you can go to their website, www.dubby.gg. That's Dubby, D-U-B-B-Y. And be sure, of course, to use the code DRAFTEDUP at checkout for a nice 10% discount on your order. You'll support the podcast and you'll be supporting our friends over at Dubby Energy. Get that dub and be better with Dubby Energy.
Hell yeah. Eat the dub. Dubby Energy.
Drink the dub.
Eat it.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston style, baby. But Will Howard, though. Let's get it.
Yeah. You want to talk about Howard first? Or you want to talk about Milroe?
Don't matter to me. I have my page turned to Will Howard. Right. I'm old school.
We'll talk Will Howard.
Will notebook style. Will Howard scout list.
I do have my notebook next to me because I was transferring everything over so I could just look at my computer screen while we do it.
Makes sense.
Will Howard, 3-star prospect, previously from Kansas State, now at the national championship winning Ohio State Buckeyes. I ended up loving his tape. Like,
tape's fun.
He might be my favorite, as you said, tie my boat to quarterback. Like, I think he's the one, like, if I have to take the shot on calling a guy outside the top 2 or 3 who could be a franchise quarterback, I think it would be Will Howard. He's got great size. Like, he's huge, 6'4", 235. He's built like a freaking boulder, dude.
Yeah, dude, he's got great size. Legit NFL size. Like, good size is literally the first bullet point I have down here for Will Howard.
He's a thick boy. Thick with 2 Ks, brother.
The first tape you watch of Will Howard, just right instantly, and that's what happened. I watched one tape, and the first thing I wrote down after the first tape I watched, good size. Yeah. Great NFL size. I love it.
I thought he got so much better this year based off Kansas State. Kansas State, I didn't think he was like a draftable prospect at all.
See, I thought he started off a little bit slow at Ohio State.
He did.
But once he really learned the system and locked in as the guy, the offense
and it showed.
Through
they won the national championship.
For sure. On his back.
Yep. And that's my big thing for him is he showed up in the biggest moments of the year and showed he was one of the best players on the team.
So you love Jalen Hurts, a guy that shows up in the biggest moments of them all and wins games.
Well, this is the first year he's won the game.
But he looked great in that first Super Bowl, dude.
I love his toughness too. Like Will Howard is not afraid to lower his shoulder, take a hit, or just stay clean in the pocket and get blasted by a defender. I like his arm. He's got good velocity, and his accuracy is really bad, but his deep throw accuracy I thought was really good. Like his accuracy to the other parts of the field, in the middle, underneath, a little wonky, not the best, like a little worrisome. But I don't think there's a throw he can't make, and I thought his deep throw accuracy was on point, and it doesn't help. It doesn't hurt that he had the best roster in college football
surrounding him.
And that is my flaw for
him.
It
never hurts.
How much can he do on his own? Like, he didn't necessarily do it in Kansas State. He gets to Ohio State, wins a national championship, surrounded by elite talent, Emeka Egbuka, Jeremiah Smith, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins. That's not even including the guys they have on the defensive side of the ball. So that is how it's a very team-friendly environment he went into. So how much can he do as the guy? I don't know. His progressions are also weird. He does struggle if you get a complex defense and get pressure on him. He's a little shaky under pressure there, and his footwork also needs some work. He does have a tendency of just kind of throwing off that back foot. And like I said, his accuracy to other parts of the field that aren't deep needs some work. He was like a 58% completion percentage in his career. So not a perfect prospect by any means, but I think he has the tools, and I think the NFL is just going to love just the way he's built. And
yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if he is the
completion.
fourth quarterback taken come the draft.
Yeah, 3 or 4 wouldn't surprise me at all. You brought up his completion percentage. It was at Ohio State this year. It was 10 points higher than his career average. His career average is 63%. This year was 73%. Like he was the opposite of Kyle McCord.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kyle McCord left Ohio State and became good. Will Howard came to Ohio State and became amazing. Like what he did was great. Like, his college playoff run, the last 6 or 7 games of the year, if you're just going off of that tape, Will Howard's a first-round pick, and it's not even a question. And then you bring in, well, he's stacked team, receivers, running backs, O-line, defense is stacked through and through. But he's got good size. It took him a little bit to get adjusted to Ohio State, but when he did, it ran through him. You've seen it in the college playoffs. I thought he was surprisingly good outside the pocket for a dude his size. Like he would get outside the pocket.
He's a good athlete, yeah.
Like he was really able to get his base under him while he's moving. Like I'm not worried if he kicks it to the outside. I think he can make pretty much like you said any throw because of his base. He's super like flexible when it comes to his hips and his feet. He's pretty decent at reading the defense and he's willing to attack if he sees a weakness. That's what I noticed. Like if he sees a safety drift, him and Jackson Dart have this ability to like recognize when a safety's slightly out of place and they will just drop the ball right over the safety. I love that about Dart and Will Howard here. So, yeah, like you said, I think him and Dylan Gabriel around the same bucket. You could throw Jalen Milrose into that bucket as well. I wouldn't bat an eye. I like a lot of these guys' games, dude.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys we're talking about right now, I think they're going to be in the NFL for a decent amount. Not starting, per se. But, like, worst case scenario, Will Howard's going to be an amazing NFL backup. But I think he's going to get a chance to start.
I don't want to just say it because Chip Kelly ended up there, but, like, I really like the idea of Will Levis. Will Howard in Vegas. Chip Kelly's there. That was his coordinator in Ohio State. So a lot of the terminology is going to be similar. And Pete Carroll's not afraid to just kind of run with a youngster that, third, fourth round pick. Yeah. Like, I think that is my favorite landing spot for Will Howard right now is getting him in Vegas with Chip Kelly. And I think that's his best chance to be a starter is if he goes to a team like that. And, it's going to be some familiarity there, like I said, with Chip Kelly. But yeah, I ended up liking Will Howard way more than I thought he was. Like when I did my initial rankings and kind of just pegged out where I thought guys were going to be, he was at the bottom of my top 10. He was like 9. And I watched and I'm like, well, I'm in. I'm in.
He's got some good stuff. Yeah.
I think Will Howard's got some juice.
Will Howard.
All right, let's talk about your number 5, Jalen Milroe, Alabama.
Speaking of juice, I really didn't think I was going to be this. I'm not extremely high on Milroe, but I think he has a really good floor, even though he's all boom or bust. Like, I think he could develop and just be an okay starting quarterback. I think that's still in the realm of possibility, but I also think he has the traits to become just what this new NFL is. He had 20 rushing touchdowns this year. That's insane, dude. He had 20 rushing touchdowns, a little over 800 yards, 16 through the air. This is where we're starting to get to the Anthony Richardson kind of thing. He's not going to make consistent throws. He's not going to hit every throw. He's going to miss a 3 throw, but then he's going to hit the half-court shot to win the game. Like Jalen Milroe is going to miss so many throws early on, but he's so capable of just hitting any throw. Kind of like what you said about Will Howard. I don't think there's a throw Jalen Milroe can't make if he's given 10 opportunities, and that's the problem. He's not given 10 opportunities in the NFL. He's given 1. But now if you're given the right coordinator, the right QB coach, the right system, the right head coach that's going to sit him for a year, I would prefer to sit him 2 years.
I agree.
And if he sits 2 years, I think Jalen Milroe has an amazing chance to develop into an amazing NFL quarterback. But if you're feeding this guy to the Wolves right off the bat, he's going to fail. He's going to fail miserably. Very similar to what is Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis. There's still a world where Anthony Richardson develops into a good quarterback. It's just not happening right now. I get he's still super young. So is Jalen Milroe. He's 22. He'll be 23 this season. He is the what if of the draft, though.
He is.
That's what Jay Witten. That's what he is.
He was the hardest guy to watch and sort of judge his tape 100%. Because like,
yep,
his is the biggest projection. It's the biggest call your shot guy of the draft.
Would you say? I don't think it's a question. I think he's the most physically gifted quarterback.
Absolutely, he's going to.
It's not even close.
He's going to make up for his bad Senior Bowl by having a killer combine. Everybody's going to be like, oh, Jalen Milroe back in, but you can't double count athleticism. We already know Jalen Milroe's an athlete.
Exactly. You know he's going to run fast.
Just because we're seeing it in shorts and a T-shirt doesn't mean we should give him double the dose of athleticism, but he is incredibly gifted. His vision as a runner is great. Like I've said to you off air, like, dude, I think this guy could be a running back.
He's 6'2", 220.
Yeah.
He's a legitimate NFL running back size. And he takes hits, dude.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to, because I'm not gonna, but I don't. He makes really good throws.
I don't think he should. Yeah, he's got a strong arm. I love his vision. But he's built like a running back. I actually thought he had good pocket presence too. Like I was impressed at how willing he was to like stay in the pocket and anticipate pressure at times. And like he's explosive. If he sees the hole when they did designed runs, he took off and he was gone. Like this, he's not afraid to put his foot in the ground, just blast
and go.
And I know you brought up the 16 touchdowns this year. I think that was more of a schematic thing because Kalen DeBoer took over and he was Penix's guy in Washington. I think it was trying to be more, throw first and, kind of be more pro style. Whereas like he had 23 the year before with Nick Saban. So the passing touchdown ability and passing ability is there. I think a lot of it was the schematics changing and just learning the new offense. I think that's why the tape this year didn't necessarily look as good as it did the previous year. But when Jalen Milroe's on and all things are going for him, he's right up there with the top quarterbacks in this class. Like, watch the Georgia game when Alabama beat Georgia. Jalen Milroe was incredible. Like, after that game, I was willing to deem him QB1 early in the cycle, but I would like him to anticipate throws a little better. His reading defense is not something they really asked him to do. His throwing motion, he's my throwing motion. Like he has a weird and he's small hands too. So like I don't know if that's a problem. He's a ton of turnover worthy plays as well, and ball placement. That's where he really struggles. Is kind of placing the ball in the right spots in the middle of the field. He can throw the ball a million yards. He's Uncle Rico. He can throw a ball over the mountains. He might have the best arm in the class. And
you said that mountains?
Yeah, and the tools are there. It's a matter of molding him into the prospect. He needs a ton of work to mold and hit that ceiling. But if he hits that ceiling, superstar.
What I'm willing to, if he's given the time, he's so smart, and it's shown. He won the William V. Campbell Trophy, which is the academic Heisman. He's one of the smartest guys in the nation. If you're giving this guy 2 years to sit behind an NFL quarterback to learn the coach's system, he's going to pick it up. He's so smart. He's so gifted. He's so talented. I think he has what it takes. He needs time. If you're not going to give him time, please don't pick him. He's not ready. He can't go in there and be ready right now. He's probably not going to be ready next season. But Jalen Milroe has every single tool in his pocket to be an elite NFL quarterback.
You know who should put their chips all in on Jalen Milroe?
The Rams, if they keep Stafford.
Close. Stafford, trade to the Giants, and then the Giants should be drafting Jalen Milroe to sit 2 years and learn behind Matt Stafford, because I still think Brian Daboll is a developer of the quarterback. And I think him working with Jalen Milroe would be great for Jalen Milroe. Plus, he gets to sit behind Matt Stafford for 2 years. So I think that's the mindset I would have if I was Joe Shane and Brian Daboll. I would go to the Rams and be like, hey, we'll give you a first next year, some other picks for Matt Stafford. Keep 3, draft, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, whoever's there, pass on the quarterback. And then develop Jalen Milroe. That's how I would approach it if I was those guys, because then you're like, hey, we do want to win now. Like, hey, we got Matt Stafford, we're going to compete.
We're ready for the future, though.
But we want to show you we can develop the next guy up in Jalen Milroe. That I think is the best situation, because he's not going to end up in Minnesota. He's not going to end up probably in San Francisco either. and all those other, great quarterback developers. So I think him in New York, if New York wants to go the route of trading for Matt Stafford, or even signing Sam Darnold to 2 years and letting Milroe develop, I think that's the route the Giants should go instead of locking their wagon to one of the top quarterbacks.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that as a fan. Obviously, I think Milroe, I have him at 5, so I think he can develop into a really good quarterback, and I wouldn't have him 5 if I didn't believe that. Over guys like Dylan Gabriel, Will Howard, Riley Leonard, who I know are good quarterbacks. Like, you can watch their tape and you know what you're going to get. Jalen Milroe, you're watching his tape and each tape is different.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're going to get. But he might have the highest of highs in this class, but he might also have the lowest of lows. And that's the spectrum he's on right now. He just needs to be more consistent, more leveled, and he just needs to slow his game down a little bit.
Yeah.
You brought up Will Howard to Vegas. I'd be cool with Milroe sitting under 2 years if they brought in Wilson. I think Pete Carroll and Wilson would be a really good combination. We've already seen it before, and Marshawn Lynch is heavily involved in Oakland as well, so it's just kind of like a Seattle reunion with the three of them. Yeah. And if you're bringing him for 2 years, sit Milroe under Russell Wilson, who is an extremely smart guy. Russell Wilson's one of the smartest people in football. Yeah, it's a good fit. And same with Stafford. Like, Stafford and Wilson are just so smart. And that's something that Milroe needs. He needs that kind of guy.
Yep, I want to piggyback Jalen Milroe to a smart, vet-savvy quarterback. I'd even throw Kirk Cousins in that range, but Kirk Cousins, I don't think, wants to develop a young quarterback. I don't think...
Hey, man, if you're paying him, I don't think Kirk's got an issue with whatever he's doing as long as he's getting that money, baby.
Yeah, but that's the ultimate, goal there for Jalen Milroe is pit him with a vet quarterback, let him sit for 2-3 years. I'd even be fine if, I guess Dallas with Dak Prescott as well. Like, I know Dallas says they want to draft a quarterback. Yeah, we'll see. We'll touch on that. Let's do our top fives. Your 5 through 1. Jalen Milroe's obviously your 5.
Yeah.
Round it out. Who's your 4 through 1?
I think we're both about to shock a lot of people because I'm pretty sure we both have this guy in our top 5. My 4's Tyler Shuck from Louisiana. We'll obviously get into him. My 3 is Jackson Dart, who's the guy I did in our prospect series, who I've really liked. 2 is Shadur Sanders, and 1 is Cam Ward. I've been very vocal that Cam Ward is the best quarterback in the draft, so it's no big surprise.
Tyler Shuck.
QB. This guy's going to have him too, baby.
QB1, brother.
Right over Shadur. Like I said, 29 years old, baby. That's not true. Not true.
5 was Will Howard from Ohio State. I have Tyler Shuck from Louisville at 4. Jackson Dart from Ole Miss at 3. Shadur Sanders from Colorado at 2. And Cam Ward from Miami at 1. So we got the same top 4.
Okay. Same top 4. I was expecting you to have Dart 4, Shuck 3. Because I know you've been very high on Shuck this whole process. We've been talking about it a little bit. Like, we don't know our rankings, just for everyone on the inside. I don't know TJ's top 10. He doesn't know my top 10.
We're trying to keep these as secretive as possible to make the show better.
But we kind of have like we talk about some guys. Like, I've been talking about Jackson Dart. You've been talking about Tyler Shuck. So we just kind of knew that these guys are going to end up on the top of our list. I'm happy you have Jackson Dart 3 though. I'm happy to hear that.
I only have Jackson Dart 3 because of the age and the projection. I'll tell you right now.
I get it.
Tyler Shuck is 25 years old and he's got a ton of injury concerns.
He'd be 26 this season.
If this man was 23 or 24 and only had one serious college injury, he's my QB1. On tape, he's got the best tape in my eyes. You were here when I watched him, when I started my full evaluation. I'm just like, because I had this guy like 15 of my just like initial watches, and I'm just like,
you like him a lot.
And I'm like, am I missing things? Like, am I like, is this guy great? And like,
no one's talking about it.
And now it's starting to pick up steam. And like Tyler Shuck, and I'm just like,
it is starting to pick up.
It makes me feel great as like watching his tape, because like I've had him here the whole time. Like, I think his tape, like on tape to tape, pair him up. I think his tape can go with any quarterback in this class. I love Tyler Shuck.
He's played a lot of places too, though. He's played Louisiana, 2 seasons at Oregon, 3 seasons at Texas Tech.
Yeah, this brother was backing up Justin Herbert, and that's not like a joke. Like we used to
Oregon,
say,
that's an actual fact.
Backed up Cam Newton as like the running joke of just how old Bo Nix was. Tyler Shuck did actually back up Justin Herbert at Oregon.
Who's been in the NFL for 4 years, 4 or 5 seasons now at this point. I think it's 4 years.
Yeah.
Let me quick run through my Shuck stuff because you like him a little bit more than I do. Obviously, we both have him 4, but you're very high on him. Right off the bat, he's got a lot of injuries. He's had 3 season-ending injuries in college. That's a huge red flag. But he played very well this season. Huge arm, on-a-line passes. He's a true pocket guy, zero fear downfield. Played a lot under center. He played so much under center. He's an NFL-ready guy. We brought up guys that don't play under center. Jackson Dart's coming up. Jackson Dart does not play under center. Tyler Shuck does play under center. That's a little bit of an advantage. Great base when given the time in the pocket. If you're giving this guy 5 to 8 seconds to throw a ball, it's going to be on point because of his base and his throwing style. When he gets pressured, though, he throws a lot off his back foot. That's my real concern.
He does.
That's not going to translate to the NFL. You could do that in college. Guys are a lot slower. The NFL, you are playing the elite of the elite. They're fast. Can't be throwing off your back foot like that. But I like him, though. He puts balls on a line. Great zip. I wish he hasn't all these injuries, and he's 26. But I do like his tape this year a lot. Mostly this year, though. This year was the year where his tape really shined.
He put it together there in Louisville. 25, plethora of injuries. Ankle injury in 2023, broke his fibula in 2023. He had a collarbone injury in 2023. He had a shoulder injury in 2022. It's just been injury after injury, bad luck, but the last 2 years, relatively healthy. And maybe it was some fluke stuff. I don't know, but
hey, man,
his tape this year, like I said, on par with any quarterback in this class. His size, 6'5", 230. He's a big boy.
He's a big boy, for sure.
I think he is as athletic, if not more athletic, than any quarterback not named Jalen Milroe and Dylan Gabriel and Riley Leonard. I think top like Jackson Dart, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward. I would say Tyler Shuck is a better athlete than those guys. I think as a mobile quarterback,
like Dart's movement.
I think he's more mobile than all those guys. I have plus athleticism down here. I love his arm strength, good zip, good velocity, good touch, good accuracy, though he does struggle downfield at times and misses high. And then, obviously he's got a ton of college experience despite the injuries. He's played a long time. Inconsistent footwork. You did bring that up. He does drive off platform a lot, and the injury history, the age, and you'd think he'd be a little more reserved with the injury history, but this dude is so reckless. He's tough as nails. He will take any hit possible, and that is worrisome. I kind of wish he would tone down how reckless he is. Because if he had no injury history, I wouldn't care as much that he's a reckless football player.
I would love it. Yeah, but I would love it.
He doesn't shy away from contact. He will throw his body at a dude. There's a play against Notre Dame where he just got fucking bodied and still made the throw.
Yeah.
And it was a great play. But I am enamored with Tyler Shuck. I don't know if the NFL is going to be enamored with him. It wouldn't surprise me if he's the 6th or 7th quarterback taken, because you want to go off youth and traits with Jalen Milroe and Will Howard, even Quinn Ewers.
Jackson Dart.
Yep. But I think there is a world where Tyler Shuck could be the best quarterback from this class if he falls into the right situation. And I think if there's a team who's going to give him a shot and let him do his thing, I kind of want Tennessee to take him. I kind of want Tennessee to take Abdul Carter or take Travis Hunter at 1 or trade back and take whoever they want and get Tyler Shuck in the 2nd or 3rd round, because I think him with Callahan being a pocket passer, I think that it is a match made in heaven. But I'm pushing my chips in on Tyler Shuck. I've been enamored with him. I think he's got the potential to be an NFL starting quarterback for a long time.
Yeah, he definitely has those traits. I'll definitely give you that 100%. I like his game. I think he's definitely going to translate.
I do.
The injuries.
I do wish he wasn't 25, going on 26 here in a few weeks, a few months.
He will be 26 when the season starts.
And the injuries, obviously, that's the only reason I have him at 4. If like I said, if he was the same age as the guys above him, even if he was 24 or 23, and didn't have the injuries, he's my QB1 easily. so impressed with him. He's one of my guys. I'm going to plant my flag on Tyler Shuck here. Let's talk about one of your dudes, our number 3 quarterback consensus, Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. I'll start here because you're a little higher, because I ended up having the same grade on Dart as I did Tyler Shuck. I just think the NFL is going to like Dart a whole lot more. Like, I have a 3rd round grade on Jackson Dart, but my projection is he's a top 50 pick easily. He's young, like 21.
Yeah,
but he's played so much college football.
So much. He's played everywhere too. Like not everywhere, but like everywhere he's gone, he's played.
Yeah, he
played a little bit at USC, and then Ole Miss. He's just been playing for years.
Unfortunately for him, Caleb Williams transferred to USC, and he went to Ole Miss, and he's done his thing here with Lane Kiffin, 4-star recruit. You know, I don't think there's he's got a confidence factor, and there's no throw that he can't make. He makes good throws. He's got a good balance between velocity and touch. A ton of college experience, like I said, great pocket presence. I also think he's a really good athlete as well. He moves around really well in the pocket, good pocket presence, evades pressure, sees the pressure, gets around it, and can make a throw, like you brought up with Will Howard. He sees that safety, and he drops it in the bucket. He's got a beautiful touch on his deep throws. Like, I love his arm strength. The weaknesses are minimal. It's not like a tool. Like, his footwork's fine. Everything. It's the inexperience in pro style offense. Like, this guy doesn't take snaps under center. His footwork is a little touch and go, but and I also saw in some of the games I watched that he had a habit of just tucking and running instead of going through his progressives. But again, I think that's just an Ole Miss thing where Lane Kiffin just wants one read. If it's not there, you go. But and Ole Miss is a tough watch, because like we'll get there with receivers as well, with like Trey Harris. Like, is he a top 5 receiver? Is he a bottom 10 receiver? Like, who knows with him and that offense? But Jackson Dart, he kind of gives you like Jaden Daniels vibes in terms of just like he's gotten better every year, and just the way he brings himself to the game. And that's not a comp or a comparison, because they're vastly different players. Jackson Dart's
the way he carries himself.
Yeah, and like, there's not a throw he can make. He seems like a smart kid. I think the NFL's going to love him. I hope he does everything at the combine. And because the combine's going to be huge for him, with Shadur not throwing. Cam Ward hasn't come out yet, as far as I know, if he's throwing or not. Okay, came out.
He's not.
Yeah, this is a huge chance here for Jackson Dart to kind of show, like, I belong with those guys. And I know you think he does. I'm not there yet based off tape, but I could see where he projects to be a top-level quarterback.
Yeah, it's very hard for me to look at guys and be like, well, this is what he could be. Jackson Dart, I'm willing to do that a lot with. Just because you've seen him get better every single year he's played, and he's played so much, and he's so young. And like, for a guy that's played 45 college games, I wouldn't mind him sitting this year. I think that would be beneficial for him, just to learn and grow. I don't think he's completely NFL ready. He's got a lot of great traits. I like a lot of his game. Big arm, high upside, could benefit from sitting, which I said. But he's played a lot of college ball. He's got a baseball background. He's very mobile. His dad played at BYU, I believe. So his dad also has sports. So his sports run in his gene. You brought up not taking snaps under center. He's got less than 30 in the last 2 seasons. Averages 15 a season. That's worrisome. And I'll 100% agree, because you play under center in the NFL. That's just how it
showed
does.
At the Senior Bowl when he had to do snaps under center. He was dropping some, but he's never worked with those guys, so you got to take all that stuff with a grain of salt. But it is something he's going to have to learn to do, because not every snap in the NFL is from shotgun.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't need the set base to let it rip. He can drop the ball in nicely. He could do it in open pockets and contestant. If you're in this guy's face, he's still going to let it rip and drop balls. So I love it. Given the right coach, right system, he could develop into an elite NFL quarterback. He can hit all 3 levels of the field, which you like. And besides Cam Ward and Shador, he passed every eye test for me. There wasn't a thing I was like, oh, Jackson Dart, what is he doing here? His tape versus Florida, he made a few little rough decisions. I'll happily admit that. I'm not going to tell you he didn't. But he also made really nice throws that game. So like, his tape where he made the 2 dumbest plays of his college career, he made a lot of really nice throws that game versus a really good college team.
Yeah,
Florida's no fucking slouch, dude.
It's not like he was Kyle McCord throwing 5 interceptions and a half against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, dude, it happens. He's got really nice legs. You brought up the mobility for Tyler Shuck. I think Jackson Dart has that. He's picked up 30 first downs this season. He knows how to extend a drive with his legs. Like you brought, he will tuck it after his first read. He'll occasionally look at his second read. It doesn't happen often, but that's a Lane Kiffin thing.
Yeah.
It's the offense.
He's got such a thick lower half.
Oh, dude, for sure, dude. His base is thick, dude.
He's a smaller built Will Howard. Similar built dudes. They're real just thick guys, like big body dude. Like Will Howard's 6'4", 235. Jackson Dart's 6'2", but 220.
But they play so similar, dude. And like watching those guys, like Will Howard and Jackson Dart do a lot of stuff very similar. The middle of the field, his work's outstanding. He hits tight windows. Like he'll throw that ball and it's gonna drop in there perfectly, dude. Like I said, he passes every eye test. He's willing to get rocked. He's got dog mentality, dude. A lot of growth each season. Yeah, there's not a lot I don't like about Jackson Dart, dude. He cuts his turnovers down too every year.
And there's stuff that doesn't show on tape. Like a lot of stuff's coming out of how he's taken a leadership role this year. Like they lost Quinshon Judkins. He transferred to Ohio State, and Jackson Dart stepped up and took leadership of that offense and turned it into what it was. And Trey Harris, Juice Wells, all those guys that he's working with. Like it's going to be figuring out like. Are they developed because of Jackson Dart? Is it the offense? Like Ole Miss, Tennessee, those kind of just huck it, chuck it offenses, tough to kind of see players and their future. It's a lot of projecting, but it's just finding those tools. Jackson Dart does have the tools. Like it's not that I hate Jackson Dart. I'm just not as high as you are in him, but I understand where the NFL is coming from because I do. Like I would take him in the second round. I have a third round grade on him, but I'm a notoriously stingy grader. Like I don't have a first round grade on Shadur and Cam. I have second round grades on them. But like I understand taking him in the second round. Like QBs, you always got to push them up the board a little bit. Position important. So the combine's going to be huge for him for me in terms of if I'm going to be comfortable going first round with him. Like I'm not there yet.
I get it.
I'm not there yet, but. Yeah, I think he's got a great ceiling. Like I would say his ceiling is on par with the top guys, and even Jalen Milroe, whose ceiling is incredible. Like I think Jackson Dart, I'm there in that process that he could be a franchise quarterback.
I get that,
given the right opportunity.
I definitely get that. Yeah, big Jackson Dart guy in this territory.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about our QB2, your least favorite quarterback in the world. You have an undraftable grade on him. I can't believe he made your top 10. Shadur Sanders.
I hate him.
From Colorado.
That's not true.
A generous 6'2", 215. I don't think he's 6'2".
He's not 215 either.
I hope he shows up at the combine at least 215.
That's what's going to happen. He's going to show up big, but he doesn't play 215. He plays at 200.
That's fine.
He plays light.
Jaden Daniels plays light as well, but I want you to show up
different.
I want you to show up at that weight at least.
Yeah, I get it.
Shadur, my biggest things with him is it's the Dion thing. It has nothing to do with Shadur's tape. It has nothing to do with Shadur, essentially. Like I just worry like Dion getting that LeVar.
He's the most consistent quarterback in the draft.
Yeah.
Easily. It's not even close. It's not
tape's
close.
Great. I wouldn't say it was a huge upgrade from this year to last year. I thought it was a little bit better, but it wasn't a big step like Cam Ward made. Cam Ward's step from his Washington State tape to his Miami tape was a big jump. But Shadur, 3-star prospect, formerly of Jackson State, transferred to Colorado with his dad. He's got. I think he's the most NFL-ready quarterback. If I had to throw one of these guys in right now, it'd be him, just because I think he's a really smart football player, and he doesn't take a ton of risk. I also he has that mentality where like no lead's safe for him. I watched him a few times where like Colorado was down, he would bring them back, and like he was making the big time throws. Like Dion essentially made the program about Shadur and building Shadur's future. Like Travis Hunter was there. I'm not saying Travis Hunter's incredible, but like look at the other talent, right? Like Jimmy Horn Jr., LeJontay Wester. These aren't like big name draftable guys. They're going to get drafted, but they're like 6th, 7th round dudes. and they had no run game, no line. It was a lot of Shedeur just getting fucking bodied back there, and that is a concern. Like his composure under pressure is, it's tough, and I don't know how much of that was him, how much of it was Colorado's line, but when he got pressured, he had a tendency of just backpedaling and trying to make moves, and he's not that kind of athlete where he could evade all this pressure and make the throws. His size is a concern, like 6'2" is generous, 215 generous, and then the attitude. He walked off on a game. I know that was a big thing for you. I looked at it less, and then like Deion for me, I have it in all caps as his biggest weakness is how much Deion's going to be involved. Because like, say this guy goes to a team, they start 0-5. That circus is coming around there. Like, this is a guy whose whole life's been filmed. He's got a YouTube series that followed his time in Colorado. His dad's obviously a Hall of Fame football player.
Yeah, he's grown up with this. This is all he knows.
The circus around Shedeur Sanders is my biggest worry with Shedeur Sanders. It has nothing to do with his play. I think he's a confident, tough, high IQ football player. When he's not under pressure, his footwork is great. They're always square with his shoulder. I think he's the most accurate passer in the class. Like, 70% completion percentage. It was like an all-time college record, like for a career. It is the Deion factor though, but I think his arm's a little better than people let on. I think he can make all the throws at the NFL level. I think he is a long-term starting quarterback. Wouldn't necessarily say he's a franchise guy, but I think he's going to hang around that middle range for a long time, as long as the circus kind of backpedals. And I hope that after he gets drafted, Deion kind of backs up a little bit and then focuses on Colorado and tries to build that program up.
Hopefully,
that's the best thing for Shedeur Sanders.
If you could for sure tell me Deion's not going to fully cut ties here, but he's going to lay off. Let me and my coaching staff handle Shedeur. It's not your job anymore. That's my thing. Deion has been his coach his whole life.
And that's also the concern.
Was homeschooled. He was his coach in middle school, high school. He went to Jackson State, recruited his son, and then built a Division I program around his son. And that worries me that's all Shedeur's ever known. Is just Deion's system. He's never played out of it.
He's a Nepo baby quarterback.
He is. 100%. But he's grown up doing this. So he's his football IQ's probably the smartest in the draft.
Yeah.
It's crazy. What do I got here for my least favorite quarterback in the draft? My number 2, he won a bunch of awards this year. The Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award, Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, first team Big 12. He's a little undersized, though, like you said, but it's not a big deal. Decent arm. It's not going to blow you away, but he can make things happen. He can hit all 3 levels, just not at an elite level, but he can get it done. He's really good pre-snap and post-snap and making the right adjustments due to his football IQ. He's willing to take huge hits. You've seen it all season and last season. He gets rocked for an undersized quarterback. He's always calm. His football IQ's top tier. He could pick apart a defense if given the chance. Great mechanics, great motion, looks the same 98% of the time. Took the right upswings in 2024, better numbers. His numbers outside the numbers, like on deep passes, greatly increased in 2024. I like him, man. He eats too many sacks. He's not elite size, not elite arm strength. He needs and benefits from a good offensive line. That's what he really needs. He stares down targets occasionally. Fumbles. He needs to work on his fumbles for sure. But that's every quarterback in the draft for the most part. Cam Ward fumbled fucking 13 times or some shit this year. That is what it is. He drops back crazy far though. I've noticed that. Fucking Shedeur's out here dropping back like 15 yards and just
his tackles are getting beat off the jump, and even a below average NFL line is way better than the line he was getting. Like Colorado's line was like historically bad, so I'm not.
It was.
I don't make a big deal as much about the taking sacks thing. I think that's more of a line, but like I am worried about how long he holds the ball. Like you're getting that pressure, dump it off, throw it away. Don't try to make a play. You're not that kind of athlete.
He's not Will Levis bad at reading pressure, but it's a little bit of a concern. No one's Will Levis bad. Will Levis is blind when it comes to that type of shit.
He'll see pressure
but
one
Shedeur,
day.
Though, He does hold on to the ball too long and he drops back too far. He gets sacked and it's already 2nd and 22 because he just lost 12 yards on a sack. It's just something he's got to figure out with the right system, right coach. Get him away from Dion. Hopefully, no offense to Coach Prime, but let your son go.
It's the best thing for sure.
He's a grown ass adult, dude. He doesn't need you anymore. No offense to Dion. He's got him this far. Let him go.
Yeah,
let him shine, baby.
Like there was the worry with LeVar Ball, the basketball situation with him and LaMelo and LiAngelo and Lonzo. And he sort of backed off once they got professional. And he just kind of did, like, all he wanted was the best for his sons. Like, I don't fault it, but, like, LeVar Ball wasn't their coach in college, wasn't their coach at, where Shedeur Sanders, like you said, has been with Dion the whole step of the way. So
every
that's always going to be looming there, and that is my biggest flaw for Sanders. But like on I love this tape. I think he's a really good football player, and I think he's going to be okay. But I do worry about the circus, and is football ever going to be the most important thing for him? Because like he's got it made. Like his dad's a Hall of Famer. Like so, how high is football on his platform? Because like I know he wants to have a music career, and he's got the Gatorade stuff. So like.
Cam Ward's always ragging him about that. Yes. He goes, "Oh, you want to be a musician, dog? I'm a football player."
Yeah. Those videos with Cam Ward and Shedeur are great and like
amazing.
I think Cam Ward has come off. He looks like a dick, but in a good way. Like this, like
it's so funny.
He's riling up his teammates, and like I think that's why that's why I really propelled Cam Ward over Shedeur, because I think he has that alpha mentality.
He's a better leader.
He's louder. He's in your face, and let's talk Cam Ward. I'll start because you're way higher on him than I am. Like I have a second round grade. I still think he's a top 10 pick, but he's.
I think he's going to be in my top 10. Like the draft. I think he's that kind of talent. I think Cam Ward is an elite level quarterback when it comes to.
He does have the it factor, and he's gotten better every year. He's played college football. His tape, like last year from Washington State, I would have had him after all the guys who came out and went first
6 or
round.
7.
He would have been right there after Bo Nix, so he would have been my 7 or 8 quarterback with Shedeur. I had Shedeur ranked below those guys, but I think both guys were better than Desmond Ridder. Man, Quinn Ewers should have came out last year. He really dropped the ball. Thinking back, like Quinn Ewers probably would have had him over Bo Nix and JJ McCarthy.
I don't know if he could have came out.
He could have, yeah.
Could he?
Yeah.
Oh, idiot. Yeah, for sure. That was such a good class.
Yeah, but Cam Ward has that it factor, that alpha mentality to be a superstar quarterback. His ceiling is high.
Yeah.
I wish he would cut back on the hero ball. He tries to do that every play, and he's so nonchalant about it, and I just... Like I said with Kyle McCord, and just take the easy play sometimes. It's okay to do that. You don't have to make a touchdown game-winning play on 1st and 10 with 13 minutes left in the game. There are 13 minutes left in the first quarter.
Him doing that it's risky though. Like you've seen it a couple times. I've watched a couple Miami games just throughout the season. I'm a Miami fan. He got the team down a couple of times, like off of his mistakes. But he's so talented and so driven that it's not an issue because he pulled them back within 3 drives.
But
he's so capable.
Can't always do that in the NFL, brother.
Exactly. Yeah. But he's so capable of like just throwing mistakes away. It doesn't matter that it happened. It is what it is. All that matters is the current drive that we're on now. And that's what I want out of my quarterback. If you're going to go out there and make a mistake, do not dwell on that mistake. Because that's going to lead to more mistakes. Cam Ward is instantly back into the game. It's like, oh, well, fuck that play. Whatever. The next drive, I'm going to score a touchdown.
His demeanor, his attitude is nothing rattles him. You can't get in his head.
Exactly.
But the hero ball comes with the turnover-worthy plays. Like Kyle McCord, he probably had the most turnover-worthy plays that I saw on tape. His footwork needs some work. He never seems to be set. His mechanics are a little off, but I'm not overly concerned about that. Those can be fixed with coaching, and it's not going to hurt him. His arm strength is effortless. He's got incredible zip and touch on the ball. He's a good athlete. I wouldn't say he's like a superstar, or I don't think he's a running quarterback. He's a scrambler. He can move around. Like he's not looking to take off. Like I don't think he's a 400-yard rusher in the NFL, but like I would say his athleticism is like on par with Dak Prescott. He could run for 300 yards. He moves around the pocket fine. He's really good at reading the field, reading the defense, going through his progressions. I saw that. It's a matter of just cutting back on that hero ball, cutting back on the turnover plays, and just playing more of a consistent rate of football.
Yeah, I agree. He's very Mahomes-like in the pocket. Like, he's not going to kick it out and run for a ton of yards, but if you pressure him and he needs to get a first down, he's just going to pick it up with his legs. It is what it is. I'm not going to push the ball downfield. I'm just going to pick it up with my legs because you gave me the opportunity. But like you said, he's made a ton of dumb mistakes. He only had 7 picks on the year, but I think he had like 20-some turnover-worthy plays. So, like, obviously the picks on paper don't look horrendous. He had a couple risky throws throughout the season, for sure. He's the 2024 David O'Brien Award ACC Player of the Year, All-American, First Team, All-ACC. Best all-around skill set from the quarterback position in the draft class, in my eyes. Big-time arm, great from inside the pocket and outside the pocket. Amazing throwing on the run. Can easily change his arm angle and his base. Great deep ball thrower with great timing. Willing to drop the ball in on a dime. Willing to fight for first downs when he runs. I've noticed that. Like, he's willing to if it's 3rd and 3, he's getting those 3 yards. It does not matter. Which I like. He has the drive and the lead, and that rubs off on other guys in the locker room and on the sidelines. If the 52 other men on the team see that you're willing to go out there and get those 3 yards by putting your body on the line, they're all going to have your back at the end of the day. It doesn't matter who you are. Cam Ward does that. He's so confident, and he has the right mindset that he is the guy on the field. Like, he does not believe that there's a guy better than him. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be Tom Brady, it could be Peyton Manning standing on the other side of the field. Cam Ward's Cam Ward.
Yep, he's carried this chip, 0-star recruit. This is a guy who's earned everything that has come his way.
Yep, he's playing with house money his whole career. He's not supposed to be here, but guess what? He is. And there's a chance he's the first pick in the NFL draft. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but he's played with house money so much he's a millionaire. And at the end of the day, he might be the first pick in the NFL draft. I don't think he falls out of the top 5. Cam Ward is super talented. I got literally a whole fucking list here that I could just honestly read. He reminds me of Jordan Love. That's that at the end of the day.
That's a good comp.
He makes a ton of mistakes, but it's all because he's trying to make the right throws and put you in position to win the game at the end of the day. Jordan Love turns the ball over so much, but he's so driven that he's better than anybody on the NFL field. It doesn't matter that he's turning the ball over because the next play, he's going to go out there and drop a 75-yard dime. I really think Cam Ward is going to make any NFL team better. Hopefully it's the gift of God that he falls into the Giants' lap at 3. Cam Ward is by far my quarterback 1. I think Shedeur and Jackson Dart are pretty much in the same bucket. I got no one close to Cam Ward.
Yeah, I like the Jordan Love comp though. I haven't really thought about that because like I watch Cam Ward play and to me it's Jameis Winston. Like
I think he's better than that.
I do. I think he's a little more polished Jameis, but
like the mistakes Winston makes are dumb. Like the mistakes Jordan Love they're dumb, but they're done like he's thinking about it. Like, okay, there's a chance that I make a mistake here. Winston's just like, I'm just going to throw this fucking ball 50 yards, and whoever catches it catches.
It was more of a play style size.
He plays like that.
Cam Ward is a much higher IQ player than Jameis Winston.
Dude, for sure.
Not as funny though. Cam Ward's funny, but no one's funny.
Yeah, I love Cam Ward's personality. But, oh my God, Winston is a guy.
But Cam Ward and Shedeur, to me, same bucket guys, and then Dart and Shuck would be in a bucket. But Will Howard's close to that bucket, but it would just be Dart and Shuck, and then I would say Will Howard, Dylan Gabriel, Jalen Milroe would be in their own bucket, and then McCord, Rourke, Yours, Leonard, Brosmer, Hannigan, one bucket.
I agree. Yeah. My buckets would be Cam Ward at the top, Shedeur and Dart, and then you got the third bucket would be Tyler Shuck, Jalen Milroe, Dylan Gabriel, Will Howard in the third bucket, and then the fourth bucket is Kyle McCord, Riley Leonard, Quinn Ewers, Curtis Rourke, Seth Hannigan, Max Brosmer. 6 guys deep, and they're all equals in my eyes.
Yeah, I think all those guys have staying power as backup level quarterbacks.
Backups.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
All right. There we go. First ranking series, Couch Scout series in the books. Let's quick recap. At 1, I had Cam Ward from Miami. 2, Shadur Sanders from Colorado. 3, Jackson Dart, Ole Miss. 4, Tyler Shuck from Louisville. 5, Will Howard from Ohio State. 6, Dylan Gabriel, Oregon. 7, Jalen Milroe, Alabama. 8, Kyle McCord, Syracuse. 9, Curtis Rourke, Indiana. And at 10 was Quinn Ewers from Texas.
Quinn Ewers. Oh, yeah. Yeah, pretty much similar guys, different spots. 1, Cam Ward, Miami. 2, Shadur Sanders from Colorado. 3, Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. 4, Tyler Shuck from
Louisville.
5, Louisville. Yep. 5, Jalen Milroe from Alabama. 6, Dylan Gabriel from Oregon. 7, Will Howard from Ohio State, national championship. 8, Kyle McCord from Syracuse. 9, Riley Leonard from Notre Dame. I'm going to have so much trouble with his name. Riley Leonard. It's a tongue twister for this guy. Notre Dame. 10, Quinn Ewers from Texas, and then right on the outside was Curtis Rourke from Indiana. Yeah, who you had in your top 10.
We essentially just had 2 guys switch. We had Rourke and Leonard switched in our spots, and then Will Howard and Jalen Milroe. But we ended up seeing a lot of these guys similarly. It's more of a like a Cam Ward situation. You see a higher ceiling, higher prospect evaluation, whereas like I'm a little bit lower. Like I'm more open to his flaws, and like I think he's closer to Shadur than he is to the top, whereas you think Shadur's closer to Jackson Dart. But we ultimately see them similarly and have them ranked
all very similar.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of expected it though with a not so deep quarterback class.
I agree. Yeah.
No real debate like we had with JJ McCarthy last year, where you just despised him, and I was a little more open to his abilities as a franchise quarterback. But yeah, after this, we'll do running backs. And running backs, we're gonna give you guys a top 20. This class is
20 guys
deep. So
20 guys.
I can't wait. I cannot wait to go over running backs with you, because we have no idea. And like I've given you little teasers where like I have some guys in my list that a little way higher than consensus, and you haven't figured them out. And I can't wait.
There's one guy specifically I have way lower than consensus, and I cannot wait to talk about it.
Yeah.
He is my JJ McCarthy this year. 100%.
Yeah, so there we go.
It's not even close.
Drafted a Podcast, Couch Scout Series, quarterback edition in the books. You know where to find us. We're over on Twitter /X at @draftedup_pod. Give a follow if you're active on there. I'll try to be a little more active posting if we can get some followers. And then more importantly though, the show, it's on Apple, it's on Spotify for you podcast listeners, YouTube if you're watching. Just search Drafted Up Podcast, like, rate, subscribe, review, share. Support our friends over at Dubby. Use the code Drafted Up. Get yourself a nice 10% discount on your order. Thank you as always for listening to the show. We appreciate you guys. This is my favorite part of our podcast, is going through these guys, scouting them. I enjoy it way more than the fantasy side. So like this is what I'm living for right now, baby. I cannot wait to dive into the rest of these guys here with you.
How many running backs did you watch?
I tried to watch everybody at the combine, and I still might try.
There's 31 guys at the combine. I watched all 31.
Yeah, I have watched 30 guys fully. There's 3 guys I haven't watched at all.
Yeah, I watched all 31 at least 2 games, but then there's some guys I obviously watched way more. But there's a couple guys at the bottom I want to quick get in before Thursday.
Yeah,
a little bit more tape.
Yeah,
I'm excited though. I love this running back class, dude. I think there's going to be 30 to 34 drafted running backs in this class, and that's crazy, dude. That's more than one a team.
Yeah,
so
the running back, and there's like a lot of guys where I liked them, and I was just like, man, I can't believe I have them at middle of the pack, like 13, 14, and I'm like, but they're so good.
Oh yeah, I have a guy at 15 that I absolutely love. So yeah, I love.
Yeah, we'll save that. So quarterbacks here. We'll be doing running backs here on Thursday. And then next week, Monday, we'll probably do a combine. Maybe we'll do a mock, something there. Kind of give a gap between running backs so we can finish receivers, because you got to watch like 50 receivers to get a proper, proper big board ranking.
Especially this class. There's so many guys that are in the same ballpark.
Yep. All right.
Just a lot of guys in the same bucket.
Yeah. This is what I'm here for. I love the Couch Scout series. It's my favorite time of the year. So support the show, share it. Tell a friend, anyone who wants to get involved in the draft cycle. We appreciate everything you guys do for us. That's it. That's Nick. I'm Theo. Drafted Up Podcast. Adios.
Yeah, if anyone listening is into scouting and whatnot, let us know your top 10 quarterbacks or who you really like in the
Post them in the
quarterback draft. Let us know.
comments.
Yeah. We love it. Hell yeah, let's talk some prospects, baby.
See you guys.
Bye.